Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Mandy VanHavermaet and I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up from Great Eagle, Minnesota, and I have two more alternatives to the August 2022 Sweet Sunflowers Paper Pumpkin Kit. Fantastic kit. I love everything about it. I could have made the cards exactly like they intended them to be, each and every one, but you know me, I also really love to make alternatives. So I have got a couple here for you, and if you guys noticed and if you follow me at all, you know that when I see printed envelopes, that makes me happy because in my head all I see is designer series paper. And so I'm going to show you how to get two cards out of, more than two cards actually, out of this envelope, and I'm going to show you how I cut them. So here we go. I am going to leave my blade up at the top, and I am going to just barely cut off anything off the edge, one edge. So basically I'm just making a straight down, like really and truly it was at 1/16 of an inch. And so then that opens up my envelope, so it's like that. And so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. My it looks like over here I think I did cut off 1/16. So right now I'm at 5 5/8. So there's the other side, the other 1/16. So now my envelope opens up like that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see here. How do I want to do this? First, I'm going to make it square. So I'm going to just cut just, so this is cut off just to the air, to there. So just a bump. So let's do that. So now this piece here, these pieces, they're garbage in my head. I don't know if there's anything I've ever used that small. Not saying that you can't. But now I'm trying to find, on this piece here, it's printed with a picture, right? So I'm trying to get it the most out of this that I can. So I'm only going to take off just a very little bit on that. So I don't even know what to tell you, how to tell you that. I'm just trying to get the roundness off, basically. And so now I'm going to flip that around, and I'm going to put it over to, let's say, 4 1/4. Yes, let's do 4 1/4. That way I can make sure I've got enough. I want to get one full panel out of this. So there is 4 1/4. So let's make this as square as possible here. So if I line up, again, like I said, I'm lining up the very corner of my piece where it's angled funny, because I want to keep as much of this picture as possible, that image. Okay, so I've got just that little piece trimmed off. So I'm going to flip it around again, and if I do 5 1/4, I've got just, it's not quite perfectly square. So let's do just like an 1/8 more, so, or a 1/16 more, half of a 1/16, a 32nd. That's right, I paid attention in math class, only because I am a crafter now, right? Okay, so I've got, it looks like 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. So which side do I want to take off? I'm going to take off this side to get me a panel that is 4. There we go. So there's my panel, 4 by 5 1/4. That's for one card. While I've got my cutter out right now, I am going to do just a little bit more cutting. I'm going to, let's see here. I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to cut it to 4 again. I like that 4. You know what? I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to, because my card that I'm designing, I could get another panel out of here, okay? I've got this piece right here. So if I wanted a full panel, a full 4 by 5 1/4 panel, I could totally do that. But the card I've designed needs only a 3-inch high piece. It needs a 3 by 4 piece. So I'm going to cut that at 3. Now I've got this piece here, and I've got plans for this piece here. So we're going to set that aside, and I am going to cut this at 4. So there again, here's another piece if you have something that you need, because now this is the same tone as this piece, right? Whereas if you were white, you can really tell the difference. or if you were, you know, if you were to use white, it really is stark. So this could be used for something later on. We'll set that aside and keep it. So out of everything, there's my scrap. That's all I'm throwing away out of that envelope. Not bad, huh? All right, so I've got my designer series paper now that I'm going to use for my cards. First card I'm going to make, I'm going to pull in a piece of Blackberry Bliss. Okay, for real? Isn't that stunning? Oh, I love it. Okay, super simple card. So Blackberry Bliss, 8.5 by 5.5, scored down the center at 4 1/4. Fold and burnish. So my plan is really and truly just to attach that. And if you notice, okay, when you're a card maker, you notice things that are incorrect. But if you notice, there's a seam here. This is where our envelope would have folded, right? Nobody's gonna know. Nobody will look at that because this card is so pretty. Nobody is going to notice that seam. I promise. I promise, I promise, I promise. If you give it to a card maker friend, they might notice and they're going to say, where did you get that paper? What is that line in there from? You're going to say, I used an envelope. And they're going to say, that's brilliant. So don't worry about it, okay? I said I had a plan for this piece here. This is my plan. I've got my stamp that says for a one-of-a-kind friend. I've got my Blackberry Bliss ink. And I'm just going to stamp straight down and straight up. Like I said, when I designed the card, I used just a white piece of cardstock that we have, right? And it was too bold. I didn't like it. So I liked using it on the piece of envelope. It really added something. Okay, so while I've got this off, I am going to open up my Memento black ink. And I'm just going to put a couple of bumblebees on here in the background. The only thing I will tell you is don't stamp across that because it will look a little weird. So there's 2 of those bumblebees and how about one right there. Beautiful. I think this might be one of my favorite parts of the kit. I like the bumblebees. I think they're cute. I like the bumblebee stamps. So, okay, I am going to pull in, this is the Label Me Fancy Punch. It's the one that's got the little slots in it. And this, I'm only going to be using the label part, but I'm going to punch out my sentiment. Okay. And then I'm also going to take a scrap of Blackberry Bliss and punch out a second label. This is one of my favorite tricks with this punch. I'm going to split this guy. And then just put a little bit of adhesive, and it's going to act as like a shadow kind of behind that, just to give it a little extra dimension, right? I like that look. I like the straight edge punches that I can do that with. All right, so there's that. So let's go ahead and attach this down. Because it is an envelope paper, it's a little bit lighter, so you do want to be a little more generous with your adhesive. Because this isn't as heavy as regular designer series paper, it could maybe warp a little easier. So I just like to play it safe. Oh, I love the Blackberry Bliss in the background. So pretty, so pretty. Okay, and then I thought I was going to put that on just like that, and I thought it needed just a little bit extra. So I've got some the linen thread, and I like to break the fibers of my linen thread first. So I just take my bone folder and run it through there a little bit. It takes the kinks out. And then this is my cheater trick. I am just going to tie one big gigantic bow, just like you would tie your shoes, right? Nothing special. I actually learned this from a paper pumpkin years ago. I don't remember which one it was, which kit it was, but this was how they told us to adhere the loopy things in the back. It was to tie a bow, and I thought, well, that's brilliant. And that's why I like Paper Pumpkin, because we learn things, right? Okay, so I am going to literally, I'm not going to show my bow, but it made it equal to do this like this. Tricky, huh? All right, so I can cut my little ends off. There we go. Pull in some dimensionals, which I have sitting here somewhere. There we go. Like so. Take those backs off. And this is why I have these everywhere, because I just kind of like a ninja. All right, and then this is going to go right on there like that. Is that not the cutest card? That doesn't even need a lot of dressing up because that paper is fantastic. I love it. And because it is Blackberry Bliss, we need to put something in the middle to write on. So I'm just going to put a piece of basic white cardstock. And so it'll be a blank note card for our one-of-a-kind friend. Love it. That's card number 1. Card number 2, I'm going to be using this little piece here. I'm also going to be using one of the gold pieces that came with our kits and a couple of the elements that came with as well. So I've got a piece of basic black, 8.5 by 5.5, scored down the center at 4 1/4. Fold and burnish that. I'm going to attach this, and I really and truly, I could attach this really by just going like this and putting it down and sticking it, because nobody's going to see the center. I'm just a little nervous that these edges are going to potentially pop up. So I'm going to try this instead. I've got my silicone craft sheet, and you could use your Seal Plus adhesive, or you could use liquid glue, but this is what the adhesive sheet is for, because your adhesive is not going to stick to this adhesive sheet. And it kind of just, you go like that on the edges, it rolls off and it's stuck on there. It didn't stick anywhere it wasn't supposed to. I just do that to make sure that it's off, lickety split just like that. And now I'm able to stick it right down. Pretty slick. So, isn't that just striking? Love it. Okay, and so this I'm going to canter just a bit. I'm really going to be using just the paper, right? I said this was not a difficult card either. So here again, I'm going to be pretty generous with my adhesive, which just ran out. Oh, wouldn't you know it? Never fear, I got more. I'm really not as klutzy as this. Toss that away. And then this goes in and it just sits, goes right in there like that. Just so easy, right? I really like the Stampin' Seal. I like that I can refill it so quick and so easy. Okay, so here again, we're just going to, oh, I was going to canter that. That's right, I was going to canter that. Just like so. And I'm not going to put any bees or anything behind like that on this card. I'm going to pull out my Blackberry Bliss again. And I'm using a couple of the elements that were in the kit. So let's open that up. And I've got the stamp set that says, "Wishing you much happiness." What a beautiful sentiment. I love it. Straight down, straight up. Oh, so perfect. I'm going to let that dry for just a bit because my Blackberry Bliss is just a little bit juicy. While I'm waiting for it, I'm going to put my basic white on the inside of my card. I really do encourage you to most definitely though, use your envelopes for designer series paper and buy white envelopes to send your cards in, because you can get a lot more cards than what is in the kit if you use the envelopes as designer series paper. And the stamp sets and this paper pumpkin is really fun. So I brought in my silicone craft sheet again, and I used it to put adhesive on just this piece of Blackberry Bliss right there. And now I'm going to bring in a couple of dimensionals again. Just like that. And just like that. So that is card number 2. So simple, right? And so pretty. I love, 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 love these envelopes. So again, thank you so very much for watching. My name is Mandy VanHavermaet, and I would appreciate if you could give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.